Good evening, everyone. So, thanks for joining. And today we're going to talk about how we can be prepared for third wave, because that is going to be one of the serious concern. And we have been hearing so much of noise in the media and in the YouTube, in many places that we are hearing about third wave. It's going to be heavy and it may hit many people. And even WHO, they just give a news like 20 crores may affect in the days to come. And there are many doctors or experts that are talking about third wave is going to be horrendous. So I think this is the time where we all have to be prepared and have to understand what exactly the intensity of the third wave and how we have to be prepared, because we have a good news. We have been talking about um, the preventive aspects, how we can be protected, and what are the ways that we can actually improve our immunity system, vitamins and supplements and minerals. So how we can actually take. So these are the things that we're going to talk about. And today, so one of the important tool that we are going to talk about, which is actually nebulization with vitamin D3, that we are going to talk about. And there are many people, especially in youth, we are seeing some of the people, all of a sudden they are getting collapse. What is the problem? And there is a, the concept called happy hypoxia or silent hypoxia, which nowadays they're calling. So what exactly it is, how to recognize and how to monitor in this pandemic. So these are the very important things. And I want, you can just invite your colleagues, friends, and relatives. Please pass on this information, because this is a very important, and definitely it's going to be helpful whom you're going to invite. So I think I'll paste the live chat link in the group chat. Probably you can pass on that information and you can put in your status as well. People may join. So let me share a few things about how actually the third wave, the prediction. So look at the screen. So I have taken these stats from Worldometer. So where in the second wave in India, how are the cases, increased from, February 2020. So in that time frame, we have actually one or two cases that got recorded, and slowly it got progressed. And in first wave, we have not seen much, and we heard like there are some places, so some people got affected. And when it comes to second wave, we were able to see in our own relatives, we have been hearing the news that these people got affected. And even some of the people, we heard a sad news as well. So look at this graph, and how exponentially that it got increased. So if you look at daily cases, and in September, October, we have good number of cases that got recorded in first wave. But compare this first wave to second wave, how much intensity it had. And if you look at the death, it also progressed, exponentially as the cases getting increased. And coming to the number of deaths and corona affected, if you look at these stats, 422,000 people got died. And now in June and July, and this is one of the video where we come across like South Africa is facing biggest trouble and many people getting died because they're talking about the Delta variant. So let me play this video.
Causing an increasing number of deaths in Africa, with health authorities unable to contain its spread. The World Health Organization says the Delta variant of the virus is to blame, particularly in South Africa, which has lost 67,000 people. That's 40% of all pandemic deaths on the continent. The sheer numbers are putting South Africa's healthcare system under severe stress, as DW's Christine Mundwa reports from Johannesburg.
The graves are still fresh. People laid to rest here have not been gone long. The third wave of COVID-19 in South Africa has been the grim reaper the country was not ready for. All of the graves here, and there are hundreds of them, were dug in the last few weeks, really, in the months of June and July. Most of the people buried here are victims of COVID-19. The managers of this burial estate say they...
So that is the condition. In just a few weeks, there are many hundreds of deaths in one place, and they all got, did burial here. And let us look at the Indonesia. Thousand health workers died of COVID-19 in Indonesia, and definitely they might have vaccinated. Look at this burial grounds. How many people getting died? So I don't want to, because I already played that. So let me come to the curve. This is the prediction. So IIT Kanpur has actually released one of the prediction. The third wave, how it's going to be. This is the second wave, and after that, with the different parameters, they have given multiple models. In one of the model, they're saying like it may not be much with the stricter interventions, so it may not be that much intensity as compared to second wave. But when it comes to back to normal, if people all come back, and maybe there may be some good amount of cases may increase, but that may not be exactly like a second wave. But there is another parameter, normal with virus mutations. Everybody come back from the lockdown, and with the virus mutations, maybe a Delta or a Delta plus, somewhere in Beta or Gamma. So if those variants all together, and this is going to be heavy as compared to second wave. It's huge. That's what actually the prediction. And it may start even July 15th as well. And now we are hearing in Kerala, every day 20,000 cases are coming. And last, I think 2 days back, there was a news, 43,000 cases were recorded in India. So what I'm saying is all this. These are all we are following. But point is, there is a big tsunami that is actually ahead of us. Now, this is the time we all have to think through and how we have to be prepared. So it's not the time to be ignorant, and we all have to be wake up, and we all have to look through what are the ways that we can be protected. So that is the reason that we are having this session. And please listen as the things and the information going on. If you have any questions, keep it with you. At the end, we will have a question hour and we can discuss. And before that, we want to, we listen a testimony and an experience from Pastor Mark Grimaldi. He's from USA, and he's the pastor for Sovereign Grace Church of Middle Tennessee, and he's the former pastor for Grace Reformed Baptist Church of Long Island, and he worked there for 16 years. And he's married to Julian with 8 children, and he also affected with COVID, and he got recovered using vitamin D3, and at the same time, he guided some of his church members, and they also got recovered. And it's really, pleasure to have Mark Grimaldi with us. and he want to share his experience with all of us. So, Pastor, thank you so much for joining with us. Can you please share your experience?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, it is a pleasure to be here with you this evening. And your evening time is my early morning time, but I'm very happy to be here and so sorry to see what y'all are going through there in India and what you're experiencing because of the COVID. But just to give you a little testimony of what happened to us here when I was in New York State, I first was introduced to the vitamin D3 treatment through Dr. Banu Gadi, who is on here with us. When one of our deacons in the church had gotten COVID, he was actually in very bad shape for a while. Even went into the hospital on a few occasions, and then Dr. Banu Gadi had given him the very high vitamin D3 regimen, put him on a regimen, and I saw him improve very quickly once he started taking the vitamin D3. He improved very quickly, and he ultimately came through and did well. Following that, there was a funeral that that several from our church had attended. We had lost a church member, not to COVID, but he was sick and was elderly. And he, after he had died, we had attended a funeral, and everyone at the funeral had to wear masks. So just so you know that we all had to wear masks, and yet 60% of the people at that funeral contracted COVID. So the masks, from what I've seen and experienced, are useless. Whatever they're telling you about masks, they don't work. They don't do anything. The virus is too small. So I was one of the 60% that contracted COVID at that funeral. And when that had happened, I had spoken with Dr. Banu Gadi, and he had put me on a regimen for a very high levels of vitamin D3 for at least a week or more, and my symptoms were not too bad. They were minimal. The vitamin D3 seemed to work very well. I recovered very well. Had didn't have to go to the hospital or anything like that, and I recovered. And several people in our congregation also followed the regimen and did very well also with the vitamin D3. We lost 2 people to the virus who were not on the vitamin D3 regimens. One of them, in fact, I tried to contact as well as I was passing on the information, and his doctor had told him that because he had his kidneys weren't strong, that he should not take too much vitamin D3. So he was only allowed to take a very, very low dose of vitamin D3, about 5,000 IU, so very, very low. And he told him not to take it. I had encouraged him through the advice I'd received from Dr. Banu to take much more anyway, recognizing that you could always bring your levels down if necessary, and that the information that's going around our country about vitamin D3 is just inaccurate. What they're trying to make it out to be something that's toxic or harmful is just not accurate at all. And so anyway, he could not. Under his doctor's advice, he did not take more of it, and he wound up very ill in the hospital and ultimately dying. And so for the first week, when he was sick with the COVID, he seemed to be not doing too bad. It's usually the second week in a lot of cases, at least it has been. I don't know what the variants, where everything seems to really intensify, and that's when he started to have trouble with his oxygen levels, and everything went downhill from there. And he passed. So, and the second man that we lost also was not on a vitamin D3 regimen as well. He wound up in the hospital early on, not treating it in any way that was beneficial, and he was lost before we really had a chance to do much with him. So I found that the vitamin D3 regimen that was recommended was very helpful for those who've used it, who've went that route. I've seen them just make good progress, very good progress against the illness. And I find even as well, if you maintain your vitamin D3 levels, even if when you're not sick, just maintaining them at a good level, that will prepare you in case you get the COVID. You'll be more ready for it to be able to deal with it if you have your vitamin D3 levels are good in general. And also you'll have a lot more energy. I was always a very tired man. You know, if you're a pastor, you're often behind a computer working on sermons, you're sitting down a lot. Not a good thing necessarily, but I found that the D3 for me personally has really done a lot for me, just giving me a lot more energy. Just overall, it's been very good for my health. So that's my testimony. It is, I can't recommend enough to you to really take if you, especially if you contract the COVID, to use the high levels of vitamin D3 that are recommended to you through those who are going to speak to you on this video. So I hope that the Lord will bless you and hope this is helpful to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Pastor Mark, for sharing your experience. And those are the really important information what we have heard now. And as Pastor Mark is talking about, vitamin D3 is helping in recovering from COVID, and at the same time, and he's feeling good healthiness while his day-to-day work as compared to the previous days. So that was a wonderful testimony. So once again, thank you, sir. And now I think we're going to talk about mainly, so what are how the severity that's going to be with the third wave. So now we have Dr. Prasad Garu with us, and he connected from New York, and he's been with the pharmacy, and he completed Doctor of Pharmacy from USA, and he's been with 20 years of experience and research in this area of the supplements, how the foods that is actually affecting our health, and what are the important things as part of our immunity building. So he's been talking so many things. Actually, we have so many sessions in Telugu and in Hindi, and few sessions in English as well. And we will keep on talking on this. So thank you so much, Panagar, for joining with us today morning. So, and we have Dr. Vijay with us, and he completed his MBBS, and now he's working as a occupational health physician in one of the MNC company. So he also working with Dr. Banagaru past 1.5 years, and he has a lot of experiences how actually vitamin D3 is working in COVID affected people. So thank you, Dr. Vijay, for joining with us. And we have a Dr. Priyanka, and she completed a Doctor of Pharmacy from USA, and she also joined with us, and she also guiding so many COVID affected people, and many people getting recovered. And she also share few of the techniques, especially the vitamin D3 nebulization, how we can use in this COVID affected. Okay. So, and thank you so much for all the participants who joined. And now we're going to discuss. So, Dr. Banagaru, so the first question is, how serious it's going to be in third wave? Because we are hearing a lot of news on there's so many cases may come up, and even WHO also is talking about crores of people going to be affected. So, what is the problem? Is it because of virus mutations? Or is it something we are ignorant and we are not actually taking care of wearing masks or sanitization or social distancing? So what would be the reason, and how intensity it's going to be?
Okay.
Please share, sir.
Yeah, well, at this, the threshold of this new wave that is unfolding, and all these in the midst of all these predictions from various countries, and all the data that is so inconsistent. Okay, we cannot take one data from one area and apply it receive any coherent outcomes from a different area. For instance, every country has been affected differently from the beginning. And what we have seen in the first wave, as horrendous as it was, and so many predictions were done. This is just like a cold virus, and this is just like many people have recovered from it without taking anything. But yet, there are so many people who suffered, and by receiving, the best of medical care from wonderful hospitals, even in India and even in the US. Okay, so this disease and the predictions and all the the things that are associated with this disease have eluded the best of minds around the world. I think that would be an understatement to say that. But what do we do? You know what? The first wave came, and first wave subsided. Okay, and that gave us and gave all of us an impression that it's going to be like this, and it is gone. The COVID, I think we have gained an upper hand with COVID. And lo and behold, the March, the February comes around, and January and February comes, and the caseload went down. The new cases, number of cases, new cases that are being reported in India went down to almost less than 10,000, and people just completely forgot that the COVID is a thing. And then, we started vaccinations, and in January, and as vaccines took hold, means the more and more people got vaccinated, we started getting the disturbing news that, even after vaccination, in spite of all the promises that were made, okay, if you get vaccinated, you need not wear a mask, and we do not need lockdowns anymore. And it is so such were the predictions anyway. But March came, and slowly the number of cases, daily new cases, have started going up, and that sent alarm bells. And so that is when the experts started predicting, oh, we have to continue wearing masks, and we have to continue lockdowns, and we have to continue social distancing in spite of the vaccines. And so that has been the case around the world. And you look at any country that has been vaccinated, you look at Chile. Okay, Chile was one of the most highly vaccinated countries, and the second wave was very intense in Chile. Okay? You look at Israel, and initially, I think in Israel's healthcare system is excellent, is wonderful. And as the vaccinations went up, the unexplained cases of inflammation in the heart and myocarditis, they went up. And now the new cases are coming in Israel as well. In the U.S., let's look at the U.S. And just last week, there is an outbreak in one of the places called Cape Cod in the state of Massachusetts. Okay, and that outbreak, 75% of the people involved in that outbreak were fully vaccinated. So, and now we know that in spite of all the promises, this success in this pandemic eludes humanity, and that is quite clear. Okay, so in that context, what do we do? I think there is something. The doom and gloom is being predicted, and it is happening. It is unfolding right in front of our eyes as vaccinations start. The numbers start increasing in Indonesia. What we see is nothing short of what happened in India not too long ago, and same thing is going on in South Africa, and India is getting ready. I think the number of cases, when they went down to 30,000, and now they are on the rise. And the predictions, according to certain models, are this is going to peak in September. We don't know how many cases we are going to see, but all this tells us is we must be careful. We must be careful. Okay? There has to be a real solution. Without the real solution, and we will be going from one solution to the next, next, as all these solutions and all these measures that are being taken are failing right in front of our eyes. Okay, so now what we are seeing is this Delta variant. Okay, and we do not know how many cases of Delta variant are coming, because RT-PCR will not tell us what variant the person is infected from. Okay, and if we do not do the genetic sequencing, and which is not done in almost all of these cases, how can we be sure that these are Delta variant cases? Okay, but there is a pattern in the previous viral illnesses. If you take dengue fever, the second infection is much more severe than the first infection. Okay, and the same thing with there is in the previous times the vaccines were tried when in case of SARS and MERS. Okay, And in 2002 and 2010 and 2011 timeframe, these vaccine technology has been tried in these. And the problem is that did not work, even though those vaccines generated antibodies to the virus that was being treated. Okay? And those antibodies did not provide protection to the people from getting infected again. And all things, they started about 50 years ago when they were testing the vaccines for RSV, respiratory syncytial virus. That was an RNA virus as well. So those vaccine trials ended up in a failure. Okay, so the vaccines for RNA viruses have never been tried on humanity. Okay, and these vaccines are not safety tested, and yet we are rolling it out to hundreds of millions of people in India. And you look at in January we started vaccinating people, and in February, March the cases started going up, and that has been the pattern in every country that has been vaccinated. And we can see that data everywhere. So is the third wave going to be more intense than the second wave? Yeah, all predictions and all the signs point to that, because the disease severity went from the first 10 days of very mild symptoms to the next 10 days, and if in some people it went to a severe disease presentation in the next 10 days. That 10 days and 10 days it vanished with second wave. In the second wave, people started getting affected even in the first 7 or 8 days. And their lungs started getting involved even on the first or second or third or fourth day. And now same thing is happening in the third wave as well. And the lungs, the respiratory system is getting affected much quicker than it has been in the second wave. So this disease is evolving, whether it is due to the Delta variant, whether it is due to Delta plus variant, we don't know, but the world wants to believe, all the experts wants to believe that it is the Delta variant that is causing all this destruction. While this is the reason why the RNA viral vaccine, the vaccine for RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, failed 50 years ago is something called antibody dependent enhancement, ADE. Okay, ADE behaves just like what we are seeing right now. Okay, when there is an antibody dependent enhancement, these antibodies that are generated by these vaccines are called non-neutralizing antibodies. They are not able to neutralize the virus. Okay, but if you get COVID and recover from it, those antibodies are neutralizing antibodies. Those will afford you the protection from a reinfection. But in both cases, whether you're vaccinated or whether you get the wild virus and develop antibodies and recover, that humoral immunity, those antibody immunity is waning off. In some people in 2 months, in some people in 6 months, in some people it is lasting up to a year or more. Okay, so there is so much that is unknown. There are so many parameters in this disease that are completely, totally unknown. Okay, so in this context, the question we need to ask ourselves is, how do we protect ourselves? There is a way. There is a good news. That is the reason why we are having these sessions, as Brother Prakash mentioned, and that is my, that is, my assessment of where we are going and where we have been and where we are right now.
So, as you're talking about the intensity, so sir, I have a question. Like, because some people are talking about it is an immuno escape, and that is one word that we are hearing. And second part is it may affect to the kids. Majority of the people going to be kids. It may affect, and even the severity wise, how much intensity that it can cause in our body. Is it only with lungs, or does it even actually affect any of the hearts? Because we have been hearing so many heart strokes as well, some of the people. So can you just explain us, sir?
Absolutely. The thing is, this is not limited to, see, some viruses, they are limited to a particular system. For instance, hepatitis, it affects our liver. And if it is flu, it affects our lungs, and RSV, it affects our respiratory system. But this is not limited. The damage that can be caused by this virus is not limited to one system. It can very easily and very quickly affect multiple systems, and on a very in the very short term. So much so that person, who was just breathing normally and just walking around and involved in his daily activities, today is no more tomorrow. And that is the situation that we are facing. And that, in fact, is one of the most difficult aspects of this illness, because anybody, and I have seen people who are hungry, and they are having dinner almost 1 hour before they die. And even with the lungs almost failing, and they're looking quite normal. So that is the complexity of this disease. And also, these symptoms do not manifest the same way in across the board. Okay, if somebody is affected with flu, most of the symptoms are similar in almost all the population. But in this case, it is very different. And in some people may not, experience any symptoms at all. Okay, for instance, Pastor Grimaldi, when he shared his information, yes, his symptoms were getting to be severe, and we stayed ahead of those symptoms with proper vitamin D dosing to him, and thankfully it did not progress to a point of any further intervention, and he recovered in about 7 to 10 days. And but the problem is, in 90% of the people, they are developing antibodies, and without, they're getting exposed to the virus, they're getting it, and they're developing antibodies without any symptoms at all. No symptoms. But in about 10 to 15% of the people, they are becoming symptomatic. And some percentage of those, they're progressing to more severe form of the disease, and they're losing their lives. So, and kids are not immune to this. We know very well. And kids and young people in the first wave, okay, and the feature of the first wave was elderly got affected more. Okay, in the second wave, 20 to 40-year-olds, many people died, and in fact, in the younger people, the disease progressed more and more quickly in the second wave than in the first one. I think in the second wave, a lot of several children were also affected, and unfortunately, so many of them did die. Okay, and here, what we need to understand is, why are those 90% of the people or 85% of the people not affected? That is where we should focus our attention. Okay? And and from the beginning, and if you've been following our programs, you know very well that it is not the virus that is being fatal, it is your own immune system, our own immune system, that is reacting improperly, inappropriately to this viral load that is being presented. That is the problem. Okay, that is the problem. And if you look at, I have mentioned many times, why is, common cold, common cold can cause pneumonia, and common cold can cause, many of these symptoms. Why is it not being fatal, like this virus has been? Okay, the answer is because of the viral load that this can create. Okay, if you heard me before, I said, compared to flu virus, this can create a viral load of almost 3 orders to 4 orders of magnitude. That is 1,000 to 10,000 times more viral load in the same time, in 5 to 7 days. Okay, and when your immune system is responding to that kind of heavy viral load, that is where the immune system responds. And if these immune reactions do not proceed in the right direction, that is what generates all these inflammatory markers and inflammatory cytokines, inflammatory chemical compounds that your immune system uses to fight this pathogen. Those are the ones which are killing the lungs and causing damage all over the body, to your vasculature, to your blood vessels, and to your brain, to your kidneys, and to your not only to the lungs, everywhere. Okay, so and now what we see is from the first wave No, that in the alpha and those variants which affected people in the first wave, they can cause up to 1,000 times more viral load than the flu virus. Now we know from the WHO data that was released on July 20th that these variants that are affecting people now can cause 1,200 times more viral load than the alpha variant. Okay, so these variants that are infecting people now, they can create almost 1.2 million times more viral load in the same time than the ordinary flu virus. So that is the reason why people are getting affected. That is the reason why the disease severity has gone from almost the 10 plus 10 days to almost within 2 days people are getting affected. By the time the results come, the people's lungs are getting destroyed and affected. So we need to wake up, and this is in this context, the prevention is a better option than waiting until you get infected and to deal with it afterwards. And your question was regarding children also. Yes, children are prone to this, and young people are prone to this. People of all ages are prone to getting this illness. And let's not entertain any notions that children can be affected less in this, because children can be, if they are they're deficient. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because I showed this slide because last time in our presentations, you mentioned like in this particular disease, COVID, it is not about the virus that is a big problem. It is about our immunity system. So I think for the participants, just let me recap that, and I have a question on this. So I think as we are seeing here, right? So we have a viral replication. Once actually virus enter into our body, it start replicate. That's where actually how much of virus cells that it can replicate. That is what we call as a virus load. So after that, our immunity system slowly start attacking that, and by releasing some chemicals, that's what actually cytokines we're talking about. And that's where actually because of huge viral load and the cytokine storm is going to happen. And that is the point where we have a seriousness of this disease, where saturations may go down or pulse may increase. I think this is what. So, sir, the question I have here is, which is more dangerous? Is it a virus that replicated heavily in our body? Is the problem, or the dysfunction of the immunity system? Maybe you can explain. Dysfunction means what? Dysregulated, maybe that is a better word. So what is a dysregulated immunity system, and is that the serious problem, or is this the serious problem?
Dysregulated immune system is the only problem with this disease. Dysregulated immune system. So the thing is, immune system, that is, our immune system responds to the challenges that are presented to it on a daily basis. Okay? And if the immune system does not respond properly, people suffer from various conditions, autoimmune conditions. And in the modern times, the autoimmune disease has gone up exponentially in the modern times. So that clearly says that our immune system is being challenged in the way it has never been before. And also our immune system is not responding to these challenges in the way it has not been before. Okay, so what is the reason for it? What is the reason for it? So if we need to, we definitely need to address that, because if we can fortify our immune system, and if we can teach our immune system to respond properly, we would have gotten to the bottom of this disease, and we would have found a solution to this disease. Okay? That is where our efforts should concentrate, instead of getting an antiviral or getting a vaccine or getting this or that or whatever, because all the mechanisms that should be active, for the vaccine to be effective, are the same mechanisms that come into play in an active viral infection as well. So if these mechanisms are not properly regulated, that means if your immune system is not regulated properly, you will suffer the same fate If you take the vaccine, for instance, if your immune system is not responding properly, the vaccine can result in a death very quickly, just like the virus can. Okay, so it is the dysregulated immune system that is the problem. Okay, and also one more thing is this viral load that is being created. Okay, is different in different people. Okay, for instance, if your body has enough nutrients, the proper levels of nutrients like vitamin D, for instance. Okay, if vitamin D levels are proper in them, the viral load is much lower. It has been proven not only in this illness but in several viral illnesses before. People can, the scientists have found out that viral loads in people with proper vitamin D levels are much lower. Okay, and that is vitamin D and proper nutritional balance or proper maintaining proper nutritional state will render a person to respond properly to these challenges. So to answer your question, it is the dysfunctional immune system that is the only problem with this disease. And if the immune system is properly functioning, we would not have, we would be in that 90% or 85% who are surviving even without taking one single pill.
But my curiosity is this, sir. I am taking good food. I'm taking dry fruits. I'm taking good exercise. I'm doing good exercise, and even I'm not feeling any unhealthiness in my actually previous days, right? So, is it really possible that I'm still having a problem with my immunity system? Because the strange thing that made me is even some of the bodybuilders who are actually very healthy, but still some of the people got affected and got died.
Yes, yes.
So
Yeah.
how
That
to
is an
understand? Yeah.
That is an extremely keen and a wonderful observation. And that is an excellent question. Okay, if you look at the first wave, if you look at Italy, and there are so many football players and in their 20s and who are very fit and extremely healthy and who have never gotten sick ever in their lives. They died. They died with COVID. And as you point out, some of the bodybuilders and who are who are these paragons of health that we see, and they died. And boxers in the U.S. With extreme fitness levels, they died. They contracted COVID and they died. The problem is, we may think if you ask almost 100%, 90% of the people will respond that their diet is excellent, their diet is proper. Okay, according to what definition? By what standard? Because there are, in the modern times, in this information age, there is humongous amount of information that is available. But what is lacking is the knowledge or the wisdom to interpret that information. Okay, so we may think, by searching Google, okay, you have to follow this diet and this diet, and if you ask one question, there will be 1,000 answers being provided by so many people. The internet is not foolproof. Internet is not, everything that you find on the internet, is not accurate. Okay? Because most of these most of the information that is coming from the internet and when Google searches is coming from people like you and me, people like ordinary people. The people are putting that information there. Okay, so yes, that is, we may think that we are eating healthy, and we may think that we are not having any other problems. Okay, but what we are forgetting is the toxic load that we are getting from the agricultural chemicals that are being used in the modern day is humongous. And in the previous agrarian, when India used to be an agrarian society, okay, the food that was consumed in a village or in a town used to come from within 25 or 30 kilometers of where you live. But now that is not the case. Okay, the foods we are consuming are probably traveling even thousands of miles and thousands of kilometers to come to us, and we do not know what agricultural chemicals that are used in raising those crops. Okay, and one of the most dangerous and deadly chemical that we need to be mindful of is glyphosate, is a herbicide. Okay, and the herbicide use in the world has gone up exponentially in the past 40, 50 years. Okay, the glyphosate, that is Roundup, that's what we call here in the US, and the Roundup is used on every crop. Okay, and even in India, the herbicides are used. These herbicides are extremely potent chelators of minerals. Okay, and they will not make most of the nutrition that we eat. They will not make it available for our body to be used. Okay, and also glyphosate can cause metabolic dysfunction. Glyphosate can cause, the mineral deficiencies, and it can cause nutrient deficiencies. Okay, and by as a consequence, people suffer from immunodeficiency. Okay, so what we are putting in our mouths, and also people are avoiding, because of the cholesterol, people are avoiding eggs, and people are avoiding the egg yolks. Egg yolks, if they're properly, if we get them from properly raised hens, they contain the highest amount of nutrition there is. Okay, and we are avoiding for the fear of cholesterol, and we are avoiding ghee, the butter, for the fear of cholesterol. I think all these practices, Prakash, has made us vulnerable to all these modern diseases. That is not a, and also they have made us nutrient deficient. Yeah, we may look healthy, we may feel healthy, but the COVID came and exposed the fault lines that are in our health. And that is the truth. And we are experiencing it. And COVID came and exposed all the shortcomings of this modern day living.
So you mean to say the appearance outside what we are, the inside the immune system, what it is, definitely there will be a gap. It
No,
doesn't mean
there is a gap. There is a gap because we know very well now. And this 1 year, 1 year's worth of this pandemic, or a year and a half's worth of this pandemic has taught us any lessons. If we learn this lesson, okay, we would have done well. I think that will be the foundation for us to move forward and face this and overcome, and that will give us the tools to overcome. That realization will give us the tools to overcome this pandemic.
yeah. So here I'm showing one of the articles yesterday, July 31st. It was said Center for Disease Control and Prevention. So where they publish it, like they're ringing alarm bells, like a vaccinated people can carry as much virus as unvaccinated people. So now actually some people have a notion like we are vaccinated and we were protected, right? But actually this shows that even vaccinated people can carry that much of viral load. So so that means what is actually that can help through this vaccination. And the other point is, even they are saying like a vaccine, if you take vaccine, it is a immunity booster. So does it really boost our immunity? So how actually we have to understand?
Yeah, this is a a very, very difficult question, and as the world is realizing that they are saying, the CDC now is saying, okay, vaccinated people can carry the same amount of viral load than the unvaccinated. In fact, that is not true, and when vaccinated people will carry much higher loads because of the antibody dependent enhancement and pathogenic priming. So these are all concepts that are very well understood. And these are all the concepts. All these experts were testifying to the Congress of the U.S. not too long ago, and they said, these things, these problems can be can be very showstoppers for the vaccine program. And now nobody is talking about them at all, because now everybody is blaming these new variants, and everybody is blaming these variants without mentioning what could be the real problem here. So the vaccinated people not only can carry the same amount of viral load, but they can carry higher amounts of viral load because of the phenomena called antibody dependent enhancement and pathogenic priming. So how do we understand this? There is a lot that is see, if we do not get to the root of the problem, if we do not get to the crux of the problem, we will keep on surmising and guessing and making wrong choices and wrong decisions about most important things that concern us in this pandemic. Okay, so and also, yeah, you said yes. Outside we may look good and immunity booster. Okay, vaccines are no immune boosters. Okay, vaccines, what they do is they alert our immune system about a particular pathogen. Okay, if they worked well, okay, they alert our immune system. Okay, there is a particular pathogen that is coming, so they will train that immune system, if it worked well, okay, to respond in case of a real infection. But the problem with these vaccines is they are made for a particular part of the virus, only the spike protein. Okay, but the problem is, these viruses, RNA viruses, are extremely resilient. Okay, and if there is an attack on the spike protein, okay, they can very easily mutate. Okay, there's hundreds of mutations can take place, and these mutations in these viruses is directly proportional to the replication rate. Okay, if the replication rate is 1,000 times more, there are 1,000 times more possibility of mutations in that. Okay, and also people are, as I told you, people are very deficient in proper nutrients. Okay, then if we are deficient in magnesium, and that itself can cause transcription errors. Okay, so the magnesium is very important. Vitamin D is very important. So all these things, instead of, there is no talk about vitamin D, there is no talk about magnesium, there is no talk about nutrition. All the talk from the beginning till now, we've been concentrating on vaccines, and remdesivir and all the other therapies that we invested so much as a society, and all those things. Nobody is talking about them anymore, are they? Because they did not work. Okay, and even ICMR said, and the Ministry of Health said, remdesivir did not work. At some point, that was all the rage. Okay, we were putting everybody through this, those high-dose steroids, for instance. Okay, and we know about the destruction that was caused by high-dose steroids. So knowing that, I think we need to get to the bottom of understanding this disease. Okay? If we do not have proper understanding, we will continue to make, as societies, as countries, as humanity, we will continue to make wrong choices and to the detriment of hundreds of thousands of people.
So that means if you correct your vitamins levels and minerals, and if the immune system boosts up, then even though you have a huge amount of viral load, maybe today it's a delta variant, and tomorrow some other variant, which may actually even more number of viral load may come up. But yet, if your immune system is good, you can able to handle that.
Yes, absolutely. The thing is, now, as I was telling, if your vitamin D levels and nutrient levels are proper, you will not have that person, in all likelihood, will not have the same viral load as the person whose immune system is compromised. Okay, that is one thing, and it is, I suspect, my suspicion is, my educated guess is this. Okay, whether it is the Delta variant or Alpha variant, it can, in an antibody dependent enhancement, it can create the same amount of viral load. Okay, enhanced amount of viral load. So irrespective of what variant it is, okay, it is the same. Those are the same mechanisms in operation in controlling the infection in our body. Okay, and those mechanisms are controlled, are regulated by nutrients. Simple.
Okay. Thank you. So I think from this total 1 hour discussion, maybe or 40 minutes of discussion, so I think all the participants, we all have to think through. So now where the issue lies in, is it a virus load or is it an immunity system that needs to be corrected? So I think from all this discussion, what we understood is it is our immunity system that we need to build properly. Proper vitamins and minerals we need to supplement. We need to give supplementation. Then only I think it may be a third wave or fourth wave or fifth wave. I think that's what actually even we are hearing. From first wave onwards till today, Dr. Bhanugari is talking about vitamin D3 and magnesium and other supplements. I think even we are seeing so many people got recovered, and so many people even they are not actually faced that the virus came and that left their body as well. Because one of the person, when actually they actually rejoining to the company, her name is Joyce. When they tested this antibodies, she found like 2000 the titer in her antibody. So that means what, she already exposed and she got actually recovered, but she has not experienced those symptoms and the severity, but she has a huge amount of that antibody report that she got. I think that is true. We need to correct our immunity system. So let us go through one of the strange thing that we come across is one person, maybe in one of the company, he went to the bathroom and suddenly he collapsed. Then employees came and they actually bring him to the hospital. While they are actually going to the hospital, they found that his saturation levels went down to very lowest level, and the sad thing is he got died. So the point is, I mean, where is the problem? He has not observed that he saturations got down. He didn't feel that. Maybe Dr. Vijay Garu, can you just explain us what is this problem? Because somebody is talking about like a happy hypoxia or silent hypoxia, they're talking about. So what exactly it is? Can you please help us?
Yeah, sure. I'll not be owning my video as I'm traveling in between. Okay. yeah. I'll be just sharing my screen. Okay.
Sure.
So yeah, as you said, I mean, we have been seeing in many people. I mean, some of them. I mean, I have seen some articles. One of the doctors in Delhi saying that almost 30% of the people who got admitted in a hospital had this silent or happy hypoxia. So many have a question, what is this? So in order to describe that, in order to define that, first we need to define what is hypoxia. Hypoxia is nothing but decreased oxygenation. I mean, decreased levels of oxygen in your blood or your tissues. I mean, if it is in your tissues, it is called hypoxia. If it is in your blood, it's called hypoxemia. Then what is this silent hypoxia? So silent hypoxia is nothing but your saturation levels or your arterial blood oxygen levels are goes down, but you don't observe the symptoms. That is what it is called, silent hypoxia. I mean, you will not have any breathlessness. You will not have any confusion. You will not have any dyspnea. I mean, you don't have anything. I mean, any anxiety or anything. I mean, usually a normal person, when he doesn't, when he is shortage of oxygen, usually, I mean, his accessory muscles of respiration come into place. I mean, they become active in order to breathe harder. I'll just show you in a small diagram how it takes place actually. So this is a picture where our normal respiration is controlled. So whenever you have less oxygen into your, because of some pathology in your lungs, whenever there is decreased oxygen levels, into your blood. So what happens is there will be some, your CO2 levels increase in your body. So this is a stimulant factor. Whenever the CO2 levels increase in your body, it stimulates two receptors in your body. One is the central chemoreceptors and the other is the peripheral chemoreceptors. These are the receptors which get a stimulus from this CO2, and they tell your brain, just the lungs are not breathing well. Please try to breathe. Please activate your respiratory muscles so that you can try to breathe. Okay. So that's how it tells it's these receptors, they signal the brain to take more oxygen from your lungs. So what happens in silent hypoxia? This is what happens. These receptors, the central and the peripheral receptors, they get desensitized. So when they get desensitized, they can't send the signal to the brain. to tell the brain that your lungs are not breathing well. I mean, your oxygen levels are decreased. They can't tell that. So what happens is the brain also doesn't tell your lungs to breathe harder. So these accessory muscles, which usually become active during this less oxygen level concentration. So they are not active actually. So what happens? I mean, their saturation levels gradually go down, as you can see in this picture. I mean, there will be less oxygen levels. There will be, I mean, the patient can't experience any dyspnea, any breathlessness. He doesn't try to breathe harder also. There is no anxiety, there is no confusion. And because of less oxygen levels, there will be cyanosis. You can see this. Okay. So what are the symptoms? I mean, usually you see in this silent hypoxia. Usually, as I said, because of less oxygenation, there will be some discoloration in your skin to red or purple tone. Then your color of lips changes from natural to blue color. And another feature is that you don't work hard. Even in your resting, you have a profuse sweating. This is another feature. So when to seek the medical attention in hypoxia? I mean, as soon as your oxygen levels, it's very important that you have a pulse oximeter with you. I mean, in these conditions, because you don't observe any sort of symptoms, there won't be any signal that your saturation levels are going down. So it's very, very, very important to have a pulse oximeter with you, even if you have mild symptoms. Like if you have fever, cough, cold, don't treat it as a flu, but treat it as COVID only, and try to measure your pulse rate and saturation levels. I mean, as soon as your saturation levels go down below 94 or 95, whatever, and if you experience breathlessness while you're walking for 5 minutes or walking for 4 minutes, if you experience any of the exertions, breathlessness symptoms, you can immediately seek medical attention. And even in rest also, if you feel breathlessness, even in sleep, whenever you feel breathlessness, please seek immediate medical attention, because you never know when your saturations are going to go down. So in conclusion, it's very important you measure your blood oxygen levels. Very, very important. Why it is important? Why? What leads to hypoxia? You need to, I mean, within minutes, I mean, whenever your oxygen levels are gone down, your brain, your many vital organs like brain, kidney, lungs, and other secondary organs, they try to get damaged. I mean, once they are damaged, it's gone. I mean, there will be multi-organ failure. And the other thing is, there will be differentiation of immune cells. Immune cells, I mean, which try to destroy your own body. And the other one is, because of hypoxia, your ACE2 receptors, where the spike protein comes and attaches and signals it is that binding which signals the immunity to act on your body. This is also is activated, and also some cell adhesion like selectin and mucin, which are overexpressed. Thereby, the immune cells attach to those binding proteins, and they try to damage the cells. And other pro-inflammatory markers are also activated. So this is, I mean, this is what we need to take very seriously. Actually, hypoxia, within minutes, it can damage your body also. Yeah, brother. That's what I wanted to share regarding hypoxia.
So, thank you, Vijay Garu. So, I think from your discussion, what I understood is, though his saturation levels getting down, he is not feeling that he has those saturations, getting down, and he's not feeling any, problem till actually a certain point of time. So, is that the main point here?
Yeah, that is the main point actually.
So
why?
that
Because
means, yeah, go ahead.
The thing is, we see in elderly, particularly, I have seen this in elderly in the first phase and second phase actually. So they try, usually, I mean, as age progresses, I mean, cells try to degenerate more. So that is one thing. And the other thing is they have less immunity also. So because of which, I mean, these receptors are also try to get damaged. I mean, they get desensitized easily. So which can't send the signal to the brain to activate the lungs to breathe harder.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what happens actually.
So, I mean, is it something like, how the COVID is spreading? Is it the same kind of experience everybody may face, the hypoxia, happy hypoxia or silent hypoxia? Or is there
No,
any, only few cases may have this kind of problem?
no, actually the thing is, in first wave we have seen elderly getting affected, I mean particularly, and after the vaccination drive has started or the mutations have come into place and new strains have come into place, even younger people are getting affected because of which. So I mean, I have seen elderly people getting affected, but because of mutations and new strains coming into place, I don't think, I mean, I think even young people can get affected by this.
Yeah, because recently, even some of the news that we come across, Vijay Garu,
Yeah, yeah,
young people also, getting affected. These things
yeah.
suddenly. Maybe Banagar also
Yeah,
he can add in that to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is, age is no concern. No, it's not the COVID. This COVID and immune deficiency or immune dysregulation is not limited to one age, and we are seeing more and more autoimmune diseases in younger people, younger population, and this can be understood as a very severe autoimmune disease, because this is because of the immune reactions that are uncontrolled, and the body is being attacked by the by the mechanisms that are designed to protect it. So, and also one more thing is, about vitamin D. I think we all, the team has been working so feverishly for the past year, giving vitamin D and seeing excellent results. Every one of them who followed the protocol. This is the thing is, the dosing is very dynamic. Okay, based on the symptoms, based on where in the cytokine storm or where in the stage, the illness stage, the patient is in. So that takes the dosing of vitamin D takes a lot of experience. I think we have that experience in dealing with hundreds of cases. And also one more thing is, and previously in the second wave, the people who responded to about 3 or 4 doses daily for 5 days, but the response was not that quick because of the increased viral load and increased immune responses. So we had to use higher doses, and now what we thought about is this. Okay, so instead of as soon as people take, when people were desaturating, let's say, their oxygen level goes down to 70 or even 60, and we give 1 dose of vitamin D, higher dose of vitamin D, 60,000 units or 120,000 units, their saturation went up by almost 10, 15, 20 points in some people. Okay, so then and continue when this cytokine storm was underway, and it is continuing when the person is in active form of illness, and that we needed to give those doses continuously. Okay, so what we thought about is, why not we put vitamin D where the cytokine storm is going on, right in the lungs? So that is how we came to the vitamin D nebulization, and we developed a technique of vitamin D nebulization, and which has worked extremely well in the past 4 or 5 weeks in people, and it enabled us to reduce the oral doses to a point where we're able to manage them well. So I think there are so many things. The good news is there is a solution. There is a solution. I think that the solution lies in amplifying or enhancing our nutritional status. And there is a method to do it, and there is a way to do it. That is the good news. Whether it is second wave, third wave, fourth wave, or fifth wave, and whether it is this happy hypoxia, which Dr. Vijay has so wonderfully explained to us. And that happy hypoxia is because of these immune reactions. They affect so many systems in our body, and they destroy the receptors, and the receptors are not able to respond properly, where even when the body is in crisis, we don't know we are in crisis. That is what happy hypoxia is.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So actually, out of all these discussions, so I mean, in the previous sessions on vitamin D3, the high doses. So when we say high doses, sometimes maybe a person initially may have to take some 3 tablets per day or 5 tablets per day, and if they are really affected, and even more number of tablets that they have to take. That's what the suggestion. But the problem, the biggest problem, what we have observed when we are talking with the people as well, the first point is if a person not affected, then he is feeling like I am healthy right now, and I'm not seeing that much of problem that I may actually experience. That's why I have to take 3 tablets or 5 tablets initially. That is first. Second problem is when a person affected, initial phase of his actually disease, he'll not feel much unhealthiness. At least he'll have some good words like okay, it is under control, and you are slowly coming up, and even he himself actually may not feel. At that point, if you suggest, okay, please take vitamin D3 high doses initially so that you may get into not get into much trouble. But the problem is if I take at this point of time, maybe it may heal very slowly and I may come out of it. Somebody may think like that, and why I have to take this much. And second problem is if I take that much, and does it may cause a problem in the long term? I think this is the biggest struggle people have, sir. So maybe I think before we go to that nebulization, let's answer this question. Maybe we'll go on to the nebulization part. Yeah.
So the thing is the immune dysregulation, because we do not know whose immune system is not functioning properly. There is no objective measure to gauge the amount of immune dysfunction there is in a person. Okay, that is one thing. That immune dysfunction is because of the deficiencies, especially vitamin D deficiency. Okay? Vitamin D deficiency, yeah, almost before we started this campaign, many of the people, I think most of the people, almost 70 to 90% of the people in India are vitamin D deficient. In spite of getting so much sun, we are, as a population in India, we are vitamin D deficient. Not only in India, I think vitamin D deficiency is a problem across the globe. Okay, so just getting vitamin D, so having a immune system that is dysfunctional until the time you get infected. Let's say, why take a chance? Let's not take any chances. Let's wait until I get infected. Okay? That is a totally foolish way of doing it, because if you bring up your vitamin D levels, there is a safe way of doing it. Okay, and the dosing schedule that we provide, 1 capsule 2 times a day for 7 days, for instance, for 7 days, and then go to once weekly dosing of 60,000 units daily. 60,000 units once weekly, after taking 1 capsule twice a day for 7 days. Okay, that will bring up your vitamin D levels to a protective range. Okay, and even if you were to be affected after that, okay, the symptoms will be very mild. Okay, there is no question. Thing is, the prevention with respect to the destruction that third wave can cause, the prevention is the best way to approach this. Okay, once you are in a cytokine storm, once you are at the edge of the precipice, it would take a lot more effort to save you. Okay, so and also this vitamin D toxicity, because there is so much that was made about this vitamin D toxicity. Oh, it is toxic, you should not take more than once a week. That is abject nonsense, because in the past 35 plus years of the medical literature, there is no fatality because of vitamin D toxicity. Even if vitamin D toxicity were to occur, okay, people will recover very quickly within a month from the symptoms of vitamin D toxicity. Okay, it is not fatal. It is, in fact, it is very easily manageable. Okay, so do not fear vitamin D toxicity and put your lives in danger. That is what we've been saying from the beginning, and we are reiterating that right now. Okay, and even once you get it, okay, if you ignore all these pleas, and once you get it, okay, take proper doses. Okay? And you may feel all right. Okay, I'm okay, and I'm fine. But you're developing this silent hypoxia, and your oxygen levels are getting down to 80s, and you're not feeling anything. I'm fine. But there are so many compensatory mechanisms that are coming into play to make you feel like that. Okay? Those compensatory mechanisms are temporary. Okay, and this is the complexity, and this is the problem with this disease. It is you will feel fine until the point of dying. Okay, so yeah, and prevention is the best way to approach this. And once you get it, taking proper doses is the second best way to approach this. And yeah, that's I think we have said enough, Prakash.
So even in Mayo Clinic, so for the toxicity, they actually called out like taking 60,000 international units a day of vitamin D for several months has been shown as a cause of toxicity.
Yeah,
So
several months. That is the key. That is the key. If you start taking 60,000 units a day for several months, and in one of the other papers they say several months to years resulted in toxicity. Okay, and that toxicity is very mild. Okay? And also, the doses that we are suggesting will not result in toxicity, but in the second wave, in some people, we had to use humongous amount of vitamin D, and that definitely resulted in calcium going up and creatinine going up. But every one of them recovered within a month to 6 to 8 weeks. So yeah, you just saw the Mayo Clinic paper, and in 2015 they published a paper saying taking 50,000 to 1 lakh units, 100,000 units daily for months to years. Okay, in some people resulted in toxicity. So vitamin D is not as toxic as we understand in the and as modern medical practitioners in India or everywhere else understand. I think we need to revisit the vitamin D toxicity again, and we need to up our vitamin D levels.
yeah, sure. So I think let's come to the very important tool that we have been mentioning, vitamin D3 nebulization. So the concept actually, if you understand these pictures, so here is a boy who is actually affected with COVID, but the cytokine storm, which we are talking about, that immunity dysfunction, that cytokine storm, this was happened on his skin itself, and this is a rashes that he has observed. But after applying vitamin D3 with that coconut oil, and within 12 hours, I think he got actually, came to normal stage. So this is the condition that may actually happen inside our lung. So where actually you will have,
happen, it is happening.
It is happening. Sorry, maybe. Yeah, it is happening. And if we were able to, push this vitamin D3 into lungs directly, so then that can really help us to come out of this COVID. And maybe how we can do that, those things we will hear from Dr. Priyanka. She can share how you can do the nebulization.
I'd like to share a few words with this. This is a 10-year-old boy, okay, and whose mother came to the pharmacy and who for a prescription for a steroid. And I asked her what happened, and she said, my boy is COVID positive, and this is the rash, and she showed me, and I just suggested vitamin D topical, and as well as giving vitamin D internally. And within 8 hours, you see this third set of pictures here. And within 8 hours, he responded extremely well. Okay, and most of the rash went away. And within 24 hours, this is the right picture, and there is no evidence of any rash. This is the cytokine storm happening right on the skin. Okay, and this is what is happening. This severe inflammation is happening within lungs, within blood vessels, and within every organ. So this is how within 24 hours that boy completely recovered. Okay, and this is what we have seen in several cases, of people's skin getting healed within a matter of hours. So yeah, let's go ahead.
Right. Thank you, sir. And, Dr. Priyanka, can you just explain us what are the nebulization technique, and even I heard like kashayam. So with the naturally available resources that you can make a powder out of it. Maybe she will explain to us. Thank you.
Sure. Sure. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. So, yeah, we are here to discuss about the nebulization techniques and also how to prepare the herbal tea. So, in nebulization with vitamin D3, what we need is, initially we need a vitamin D3 mixture. So in order to make this vitamin D3 mixture, we will need 1 bottle of vitamin D3 nano. You can see it is in the first picture here. So this nano bottle, it contains 60,000 international units of vitamin D3 as a nano droplet form. So it is an emulsion, like a water soluble form. and then um, and then we'll need this arachidol 6 lakh units. It is an injection of vitamin D3. So we will need half ml of this 6 lakh units. So if half ml will be equal to 3 lakh units. If you don't get the 6 lakhs units of injection, you can always use the capsules that are available, 60,000 vitamin D3 capsules, 5 capsules you can use. And you can just squeeze them, and or those capsules, or you can use half of this injection, and then put it into this bottle of nano. And then you have to shake the bottle very well, so that the mixture is uniform and everything is mixed thoroughly. So once everything is mixed, the vitamin D3 mixture is ready. And then what we have to do is we have to take 2 ml of normal saline solution, and zero point 0.5 ml of the above mixture. So from this mixture, the above mixture, just zero point 0.5 ml, add both of them into the medication cup of the nebulizer. So every nebulizer, as we know, has a medication cup. So we have to put 2 ml of normal saline and half zero point 0.5 ml of the vitamin D3 mixture into the medication cup. And then we have to perform the nebulization as recommended by the healthcare professional. And that nebulization depends on each case and each patient and how they are doing. So um, if there is any remaining liquid, it can be refrigerated. So what actually is happening here is, in this vitamin D3 mixture, when we make it, total amount of vitamin D3 in that bottle will be equal to 360,000 international units. So for each nebulization, we are recommending 0.5 ml, so which will have around 32,700 and 727 international units of vitamin D3. So around 1 full bottle of this nano, after the mixture is ready, will come for up to like 11 nebulizations. So this is a procedure with vitamin D3 nebulization. So what this is actually doing is, the amount of vitamin D3 concentration in the lungs is going up. So previously, when we took the oral capsules, the amount of vitamin D3 reaching the lungs was a little bit low, that which is why we had to give more doses or huge doses to the patients. With this nebulization technique, since the vitamin D3 is directly going into the lungs, the number of oral capsules can be reduced to address the other inflammatory markers like D dimer or CRP and other inflammation. And this concentrated vitamin D3 in the lungs is going to address that inflammation in the lungs itself. That's how it is going to work. And then we have nebulization with hydrogen peroxide. In this, we have to take 2 ml of normal saline solution, and then 2 to 3 drops of hydrogen peroxide, and 2 drops of povidone iodine solution. All these have to be added to the medication cup of the nebulizer, and the nebulization can be performed as recommended. Now, this depends on how severe the cough is for the patient. So this helps with that cough. And then Coming to herbal tea, so these are the ingredients that are needed to make this herbal tea. Now, this herbal tea works as an immunity booster. It boosts our immune system, and also it helps with gastric and bloating issues. So the ingredients are listed here. Let's look at the ingredients first, and then I'll talk about the stars, red and yellow stars later. So turmeric, which is also known as curcuma longa, curcumin, and then cumin, and then we have ajwain, and then we have fennel seeds, and then we have fenugreek, and then we have cardamom, we have kalonji seeds, we have cinnamon, star anise, dry ginger, clove, and black pepper. So the amounts for each of them have been listed here, except the last three ingredients. Rest of them are about 50 grams. So all these can be mixed, and it can be made into a coarse mixture, and then that mixture can be stored in an airtight container for about 2 months. You can also refrigerate it. So when making this herbal tea, you can take 2 tablespoons of the coarse mixture and boil it with 1 liter of water. And while boiling, you can add any of these minor herbs or leaves um, to the boiling water, and then you can boil it for a little bit more. And after boiling, you can strain the liquid and consume the tea 2 to 3 times daily. For taste, you can add a little bit of honey for taste. So that this is a general procedure of any normal person for prevention, like whoever is the non-COVID. If the patient is having COVID, they can take this more number of times as well. Now, coming to the stars, now these stars, I've listed them here, especially for pregnant patients. So the stars in red, they need to be avoided, and the stars in yellow, they have to be taken in less amounts during pregnancy. So turmeric, it has to be taken in less amount because it can stimulate the uterine tissue. So that is why very less amounts have to be taken. And even fennel seeds also, they can increase the prolactin levels, which is not desirable during pregnancy. So that has to be in lower amounts as well. Fenugreek has to be totally avoided. And then star anise and then clove also have to be totally avoided, because they either can raise the prolactin levels, or they either stimulate the uterus tissue or the uterine muscle, which is not what we want during pregnancy. And then cinnamon, dry ginger, and black pepper. Now they can now during pregnancy, bloating and gastritis is a common issue. So these in huge amounts, in these listed amounts, may aggravate those symptoms. So consuming those ingredients in a lesser amount will actually help the pregnant people. And then dry ginger, it's not, do not avoid it, but it has to be taken, but in lesser amounts. It's going to help with the nausea or the vomiting sensation for these patients. So that is the thing with the yellow and the red stars. And then coming to the leaves, yeah, now, yeah, I didn't go through the leaves, sorry. So this one, the first one is called green chirata, and then the next one is giloy. The third one is tulsi. It's also called as holy basil, and the fourth one is mint. So green chirata and mint, they have to be avoided in these pregnancy patients, as they can aggravate the uterine muscle. So yeah, they and these two leaves have to be avoided. They can definitely take giloy and holy basil. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Priyanka, for helping us to understand the nebulization. I think it's very clear and very simple steps that everybody, especially those who are affected with COVID, they can actually do this nebulization. Other than that, you can actually, take oral vitamin D3. Already vitamin D3 sheet I attached in the group chat. You can find that based on the age. You can take those supplementations. And before that, the best thing is first have vitamin D test. Okay, so in Hyderabad, at least I found one of the diagnostic center where actually they charge 600 rupees. There are some places where actually, you can have test. Maybe some places 1,000 or 1,500, but have test. And based on that level, you can actually, increase your vitamin D3. But that is must. You should actually take, vitamin D3 and maintain 80 to 100. And there are two tools that we all should.
80 to 100 nanograms per ml.
Nanograms per ml. Yeah. Thank you, sir. So I think there are two tools we have to buy. We understood in happy hypoxia because people are not, vigilant that they have a low level of oxygens. So, I mean, if you want to monitor saturations, you need to have pulse oximeter. So pulse oximeter comes around. Even now, actually, government has reduced those taxes because this is very required, and they are charging around 600 or 700 rupees. Definitely, every family must have this pulse oximeter. Please buy. Okay. And second instrument is, as we discussed, nebulizer. So this is also in online, maybe 1,000 rupees, or maybe in the shops, maybe it will be a little more. But buy one nebulizer. And if multiple people want to use, you can actually get this extra pipes, and so that you can exchange between the people. So this is one of the important. Please have these two instruments in your family, and get some good amount of vitamin D3 supplements and magnesium tablets. There are some links that we have already provided in that YouTube channel. So if somebody actually asking for so where are the recorded sessions? Yeah, you can go to youtube.com/Life in God. So in this channel, so we have multiple sessions which we have recorded previously, almost like a 15 to 16 sessions we have made. Telugu, we have Hindi sessions, and we have Hindi session English as well. So definitely you can go through, and today's session also will be recorded and will be available in this channel. So you can go to those videos, and you can just listen what are the topics that is required. So now the point is, maintain vitamin D3 is crucial as a preventive aspect. That is must. So let us take some questions now. So if you want to ask a question, you can raise a hand. I can unmute. And if you want to put a question in the group chat, so definitely you can paste that. So now this is the time for question now. If you have a question, please ask. Yes, sir. You can ask. Yeah.
Hello. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. Hi. So actually, will the vaccinated people, like individual, get affected with in terms of the menstrual cycles? Like I've seen my wife actually, recently she's been vaccinated, and that has been changed menstrual cycles. It has been affected. There are a few cases I have heard of it as well. So is it true, doctor? Can you keep the light on that?
Yes, there have been reports of these vaccines, and the spike protein can alter the menstrual cycles, and also.
But will it be harmful? Is it affecting?
These are the things that need to be that needed to have been studied in safety testing, and that has not been studied before. So will it be harmful? The time will tell. But there are ways to protect yourself. Okay, tea that Dr. Priyanka mentioned, and thing is, these are all the tools we put together, okay, for your benefit. So you can first of all correct her vitamin D levels and correct her mineral levels, and also in the previous presentations, Dr. Priyanka gave a very detailed account of all the supplements, okay, that we needed to take, we needed to be on. So these are the supplements we've been talking about from the beginning. So let's improve our nutritional status. Don't worry about the thing that has already happened, the vaccination and all those things. Don't let that worry you. But going forward, just avoid all the toxic influence from the food, and also give correct her vitamin D levels, correct her mineral levels. Okay, and let's approach this, and let's protect ourselves. And our body is equipped with all the mechanisms to protect itself if we provide it proper nutrition. Okay. Having said that, one more thing that I wanted to say is, in the initial stages of vaccination in the UK, and the clinicians have observed that the miscarriage rate has gone up by 366% within 5 weeks of vaccination. So these are all this is a very concerning data that we have completely ignored as in India. And yeah, going forward, I think we need to pay attention to these things. And my suggestion to you is, don't worry. But let's take corrective measures now.
Yeah. And to the participants, right? So we spoke about different vitamins and minerals. So where you can find online products. I attached that PDF in the chat. You can get that and go to the Amazon or Flipkart. So these products are available. You can definitely use it. Okay. So now there is a question, Bhanugaru. For long-term diabetes person taking vitamin D, how much it works in this pandemic situation?
Yes. See, if you look at all these degenerative diseases like diabetes and hypertension and heart disease, or any neurological diseases or depression, vitamin D deficiency is at the root. I'm not saying it is the cause, but it is that is the common feature. Okay, all these people who are suffering from these diseases, their vitamin D levels are much lower than they're deficient. Okay? When you correct your vitamin D levels, okay, you will see a lot of improvement, okay, in your insulin sensitivity. Okay, so even if you're long-term diabetic or short-term diabetic, vitamin D correction will help you. Okay, and maintain your vitamin D levels no matter what the condition is. Maintain your vitamin D levels around 80 to 100 nanograms per ml. Okay, and if you're vitamin D deficient and if you have diabetes and other conditions, you're at risk of certain death if you contract COVID. Okay, vitamin D correction is non-negotiable.
Yeah, thank you. So, Venkat, you can unmute and ask your question.
I have affected a COVID positive. Right now, I'm in a hospital taking a treatment. Actually, it started at Sunday, so I admitted in the hospital. Then they started a cocktail injection one day, and they are giving remdesivir injection also, and they are giving steroids every day, like morning 6 mg and evening 6 mg. My question was like, after treating this one, is there any effect for my body symptoms or any problems? And one more, they are giving insulins also daily.
Yeah. Well, that is I think you are undergoing the standard protocol that is given in the hospitals. See, if you're given dexamethasone 6 milligrams in the morning and 6 milligrams in the evening, and also if they are also giving methylprednisolone, your sugar levels will go up, and that is why you're put on insulin. And remdesivir is still they're continuing to give remdesivir, and that has its own set of issues. Okay, and if you're in the hospital and if you're stable, let's hope for the best. But vitamin D will definitely help you even in this situation. So I think you need to continuously monitor your saturation and any other symptoms. And the problem with steroids is the steroid use can cause delayed cytokine storm. So if it is a delayed cytokine storm, that can destroy the lungs very quickly. So that needs to be understood as well. And just if you have not taken vitamin D until now, it is better to add that to the regimen that you're taking.
I think Venkat had a question. So if I take 3 tablets or 4-5 tablets, little higher doses, does it cause long-term effect? And these kind of questions Venkat had.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can tell you from my experience, I know, in fact, I was affected with COVID in November of last year. Okay. And I'll tell you how many capsules I have taken. I don't want to say about the other patients that are being treated, but I have taken myself about 150 capsules in 7 days. Okay, so 150 capsules, almost 70 plus lakh units of vitamin D in 7 days. Yeah, and I have not suffered any consequences. Almost 8 months after the thing, I did not suffer any consequences. And yeah, I was right at home, and I did not take any other medication. And yes, on the 14th day, I did develop shortness of breath, even though my saturation did not go below 92 because of continuous vitamin D administration and continuous fluid intake, continuous all the things that I'm telling you, I did. Okay, and so after it touched 92, 91, and started aggressive dosing of vitamin D, within 2 to 3 days, the saturations returned to 97, 98, and only symptom that I have now, even now after 8 months, my smell and the taste hasn't returned to completely normal yet, even now. So my smell is back about 70 to 70%. Okay, so long-term consequences with vitamin D is they have not materialized, and the fear of long-term consequences of vitamin D is completely unfounded. Okay? That fear is unfounded. Okay, and if your vitamin D levels, let's say, they may go up. In some people we have seen vitamin D levels going up to extremely high levels, even 1,000 or even higher. Okay? And within 2 weeks of them going up, okay, if you stop taking it, the vitamin D levels will come down by half. Okay, let's say your vitamin D levels are pushed to the extreme levels, like 600, let's say. Okay, don't take anything, and vitamin D, the calcifidiol's half-life is 14 days. So within 14 days, it will come down to 300, and 14 more days, 2 more weeks, it will come down to 150. 14 more days, so 6 weeks, you're down to 75. So the vitamin D, maintaining vitamin D levels is extremely difficult, extremely difficult. So do not fear about vitamin D toxicity. Yes, if you have toxicity, we can deal with it. Okay, but if we lose our lives with 2 perfectly functioning kidneys and if we are in the grave, there is nothing much we can do, is it?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, Lakshmi Narayan, you can ask your question.
యా ప్రైజ్ లార్డ్ అండి అన్న. మార్నింగ్ అన్న.
Yes.
యా, ఏం లేదండి, ఒక చిన్న డౌట్. ఇప్పుడు సెకండ్ వేవ్ లో చాలా మందికి మనం ఇవన్నీ చెప్పడం వల్ల చాలా మంది వాడారు, కానీ వాళ్ళందరూ మళ్ళీ డి విటమిన్ వాడడానికి భయపడుతున్నారు. బికాస్ ప్రతి ఒక్కళ్ళు కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ చేస్తుంది ఏంటంటే టాక్సిటీ కిడ్నీలు పాడైపోతాయి అని. కాబట్టి ఇప్పుడు మీరు చెప్పినట్టు బాణన్న గారు, టాక్సిటీ అవ్వకుండా ముందుగానే వాళ్ళకి ఏమైనా జాగ్రత్త చెప్పచ్చా? అంటే చాలా రోజుల తర్వాత అదొక క్వశ్చన్ అండి. ముందుగానే వాళ్ళకి టాక్సిటీ కాకుండా.
Let's address this question first. Okay, let me translate this question. Okay, the question that was asked is this. Okay, the people who have recovered in the second wave by using vitamin D, and they are fearful of using vitamin D continuously, and they're maintaining because they're fearing the toxicity, and they're fearing about their kidneys getting destroyed. Okay, as I have already explained, that fear is completely, totally unfounded. Okay, we need to tell them, because they have already been affected first. Okay, once in the second wave, and they may get reinfected in the third wave again. And this reinfection can be extremely serious. And if they do not maintain their vitamin D levels, okay, don't tell them to take vitamin D, but tell them to maintain their D levels around 80 nanograms per ml, 80 to 100 nanograms per ml. Okay, just tell them that. Okay, and have them measure their vitamin D levels every month and see, and they will understand themselves how difficult it is to maintain vitamin D levels. Okay, so that can tell them, don't tell them not to, don't tell them to take vitamin D capsules every week or this week or that week, but let them decide on their own how much vitamin D to take to maintain their levels between 80 and 100 nanograms per ml. Okay, second question.
యా అన్న. సెకండ్ క్వశ్చన్ వచ్చి ఇప్పుడు డెల్టా వేరియస్ ని బిఫోర్ గా మనము ప్రికాషన్ కోసం ఇవన్నీ మెయింటైన్ చేయాలి. నెంబర్ 1 ఇస్ ఓకే. ఎవరికైతే ఆల్రెడీ ఇప్పుడు ఈ థర్డ్ వేవ్ లో ఎవరైతే కోవిడ్ బారిన పడుతున్నారో వాళ్ళకి మనం ఏమన్నా ముందే ప్రిస్క్రిప్ట్ చేయొచ్చా? డి విటమిన్ ఇన్ని వాడాలి ఇదంతా?
Yeah. So this is the and second in the question that that was asked is for the third wave, what are the preventive precautions that we can advise people to avoid getting infected, or even if they get infected, how to mitigate the effects of that infection. So now, and there are precautions that can be taken. And first of all, the fluid intake, that is one thing that I did not mention. Fluid intake is extremely important. Okay, and taking 1 glass of water every half an hour is important. Okay, whether you're infected or if you're not infected, taking about roughly for a standard size person, taking about 4 liters of water daily is important. And also your mineral balance, maintaining your mineral balance is important. Okay, because when people get infected with COVID, their sodium levels are dropping to a dangerously low levels. Okay, so maintaining sodium levels is important. For the third wave, this is, I think, from the beginning of this session that we've been saying, okay, maintaining vitamin D levels and correcting vitamin D levels and taking proper precautions and proper supplements and maintaining fluid balance. These are the only things. These are the simple steps that we can tell people, and tell them not to wait until they get infected. Okay, once they get infected, the dosing that we may have to use will be much higher. Okay, and before they get infected, if they bring their levels up to 80 to 100 nanograms per ml, the disease presentation in those people will be much milder, even if they get infected.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think we should really appreciate Lakshminarayan Garu because he recovered and he guided many people. So we really appreciate his effort, and even he recorded some of the audio messages and spread to many
in several
languages. So I think that really helped many people. So thank you so much, Lakshminarayan Garu, for your work. Thank you. So I think we have one question in the chat. Dr. Chintapalli Ade Garu, he asked this question. Sir, is not enough our natural sun rays? If yes, will you give good methods of observing D3?
Okay, that is a good question. So natural sun, so if you expose 70% of your body, okay, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., okay, that intense sun, about an hour, about 30 minutes to 1 hour, you will get about 20 to 50,000 units of vitamin D. Okay, that too, if your nutrition is proper, if your nutrition levels, if you have good cholesterol levels, and if you have if your toxic exposure is very minimal, then you will get about that much amount of vitamin D. So, and it is absolutely impossible to avoid all the agricultural chemicals in India, and which completely destroy the mechanisms of this cholesterol transportation mechanisms, and which will not allow you, or which will not allow you to make the amount of vitamin D that is usually gotten from the sunlight. Okay, the first thing is, we are told, okay, in the morning sun or the evening sun. Morning sun or the evening sun will not have the ultraviolet B rays. Okay, only from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. or even 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in India, that is the time frame where the sun has enough ultraviolet B radiation to enable you to get vitamin D. The second thing is your nutritional status. If you do not have proper cholesterol levels, you will not get vitamin D. Okay? And the third thing is, if the cholesterol is not properly transported to the skin, which is controlled, those cholesterol transport mechanisms the sulfation pathways are controlled by proper nutrition, you will not get vitamin D. So there are so many impediments to making vitamin D from the sun. So that is the reason why, even though the sun is plentiful in India, so much of the population is deficient in vitamin D.
Yeah. So we have two questions, Banu Garu. So let me display one question here. Sir, I have a doubt with vitamin D intake. It was said that calcium deposits may happen. If so, does it leads to cardiac problem? So
Yeah. So this is the question that is plaguing many people's minds. The calcium deposits. Okay, before the calcium can be deposited in the tissues, okay, and your serum calcium has to go up. Okay, when your serum calcium has gone up, okay, you will know very quickly if it has gone up to 13, 14, or 14 mg per dl. That is when you'll start experiencing these symptoms of nausea and constipation and all these things. So if your levels stay up, the serum calcium levels stay up for a long time, that is when the calcium deposits can happen. Calcium deposits are not, is not a function of serum calcium going up. Calcium deposits is a function of intense inflammation that is taking place in our arteries. Okay, that inflammation, if it is unchecked, okay, that can cause this the damage and this sponge cell infiltration into the endothelial tissues, and that results in calcium deposits. Not just taking vitamin D and your calcium deposits go up. Most of the people with calcified arteries and calcified arteries in the heart muscle, okay, their vitamin D levels are extremely low. And most of the people who have kidney stones, their vitamin D levels are extremely low. Vitamin D is not the reason for calcification. There are other reasons. If you consume a lot of oxalates by way of eating a lot of greens like spinach and like all the greens that we get in India, and those increase the oxalates and form calcium oxalate crystals, and that is the reason why your kidney stones form, not because of your higher vitamin D levels. Okay, and taking vitamin D for a short term to come out of this disease, okay, which is almost certainly fatal, is going to increase your calcium levels. Okay? So just let go of that fear. Okay? And once, as I told you, once the calcium level goes, even if the calcium level goes up, okay, you can bring it down within a matter of 2 weeks.
okay. Sir, here I have, somebody asked this question. If vitamin D3 test shows 60 grams per ml, still we need to take vitamin D3 tabs.
Okay, first of all, congratulations. Most of the people do not have 60 nanograms per ml. That's wonderful. But if your level is 60 nanograms per ml, and if you've gotten there by taking vitamin D supplementation, okay, just do a test for yourself. And I don't want to suggest that, but if you're concerned, just wait for 2 weeks and get tested again. Okay, and that would have dropped. Okay, and if you wait for just a month or two, okay, that will come down to less into single digits. So vitamin D supplementation in this day and age, because we are not getting proper nutrition, good nutrition through our food, okay, and we are not getting enough sun exposure, okay, and we are not avoiding these chemicals, okay, agricultural chemicals. It is very difficult to maintain vitamin D levels. So even at 60 nanograms per ml, I would still take the maintenance dosing of once weekly, 60,000 units.
So I think here we just mentioned, right? Daily we need 5,000 to 10,000 IU. That's why actually doctors suggest to take 60K weekly once. So that is actually maintenance dose. But that's what we have been telling. Just increase your vitamin D level to 80 to 100. Then from there, weekly once, you have to maintain till this pandemic, because you have to maintain that level. So
no, even after the pandemic, don't say through this pandemic, even after the pandemic, because we don't want to wait for another pandemic to hit to correct maintain the levels.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for this correction. Sir, here we have a question. Sir, my mom's saturation level shows 90 for now. Sometimes it even goes back to 88. Her saturation level is keep fluctuating even after taking vitamin D3 60 IU. It's been 2 days. She's been keeping vitamin D3. The doses are 16 tabs a day. So at around 4 a.m. she took 4 tabs, and at 9 o'clock 4 tabs. Likewise, around noon, afternoon and night time. So is the doses she is taking good enough? She does not have any breathing problem right now.
Okay. So yeah, let's address this. The thing is, the 16 tablets, 4, 4, 4, 4. We need to be careful. We need to continuously monitor how she is responding to these doses. Okay, and she is the perfect candidate who could benefit from vitamin D nebulization if the nebulization can bring her levels up to from 90 to 95, 96. You can cut these doses down, daily doses down to 3 or 4 or 5 a day. Okay? So just try the nebulization, and maintaining 80 to 90 just after 2 days of saturation, 2 days of supplementation is a good thing because it has not gone down. Okay, and usually, when it comes to 90, it comes to 70. It goes down to 70. So that is a good thing. And in the active stage of this illness, okay, and vitamin D supplementation is, a constant dosing is necessary. Okay, and then just try vitamin D nebulization. I think her saturation would respond very well to the nebulization. And if that is, and call one of our helpline numbers. There are wonderful people, Daniel and others. They will guide you through this. You are muted, Prakash.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you, sir. So we are at the end of the session, and here I'm displaying 3 numbers. So these numbers you can contact for any guidance. But for Hindi, I think we have a different set of numbers. So I'll put it in the chat, and you can actually contact those numbers. So let me put that. Yeah, so these are the numbers I'm displaying here. So I kept in the chat, and you can contact those who are comfortable with Hindi or English. You can contact. So let me display that. Yeah, so these are the numbers you can note down, and I pasted in this same numbers in the chat. And we have given 2 important files. One is a vitamin D3 usage, age-wise how much you can give. That's one sheet. And second one is online products where actually you can get them, and you can start taking as a preventive aspect. And it's not only preventive, and definitely, as Banu Garu said, maintaining your immunity will help you, and you can get good health, and you will have good energy levels, and you can really enjoy the good health. So that's one of the main point. So I think now this is the time.
There is one more question in the chat. It says Kaladhar Babu asked 1-125 hydroxy vitamin D. It shows 32.2 picograms per ml. Is it okay? See, the thing is, the levels that we suggest here is to get tested for not 125 hydroxy vitamin D, but it is 25 hydroxy vitamin D3. That is calcifidiol. That is the test that you need to take. Okay, so 25 hydroxy vitamin D. So 125 hydroxy vitamin D is the active form. That is the double hydroxylated form, and that is we are not referring to that. Get tested for 25 hydroxy vitamin D level. Okay, so if you get tested for 25 hydroxy vitamin D level, so maintain between 80 and 100 nanograms per ml. Okay, so yeah, that's what I would.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So I think the last 3 numbers which we have given, so Hindi, English, and Marathi. So any of 3 languages, they can help you and guide you. And the above 3 numbers also Telugu or English. you can approach those numbers. So thank you so much, for all the participants, and especially Dr. Prasad garu and Dr. Vijay garu, though he is in travel, so he connected and shared the very good information. And thank you, Dr. Priyanka garu, for good information on the slides and the every detail and specs that you have kept. So I think these are very helpful tools and information. So, and thank you so much for all the viewers in the YouTube as well. And mostly coming Sunday, we may have in Hindi. Okay, we want to actually make this as a alternative language. So one Hindi and one Telugu on Sunday at 4 p.m. And on Saturday at 4 o'clock in Telugu, we are having these sessions. So same Zoom ID and same passcode, and you can just make a note of it and join. And whichever the questions you have, and definitely feel free to ask. And if you want to have share this good information. Okay, please invite your friends and relatives and pass on this information which you have. So this is a serious days. I mean, very painful days that we are passing through. We all help each other, whatever the information we received. Okay, thank you. Maybe Prashant garu. Okay, he raised. Okay, we'll give time. Only yeah, you can ask your question.
Sir, I have 1.5 years boys there. Can you tell me the vitamin D3 course? I have normal boy is there, my son. 1.5 year boy is there.
Yeah, I shared in the chat, but let me just go through that direct sheet. 1.5 year, right? So yeah, here is the sheet. So 1 year and below, and you have 1.5 year, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
2 years is fine, brother.
2 to 5, yeah.
Yeah, 2 to 5 years. So normally, I mean, if he's not affected or baby is not affected, then you can give 1,000 IU. So you will have syrups available in the market. So for each ml, you will have 1,000 IU units. So that you can give in the morning and evening. So like that you can give. And if any symptoms or any observations that you found, then you can give 2,000 IU 6 times daily for 5 days. Then 1,000 units twice daily. So this is a normal which can give which you can give some good amount of days. That will be helpful. Okay. Any questions, you can contact helpline numbers. We'll guide you. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much, and I'm ending this session. Thanks once again.